Hello students, welcome to our another session on SCM marathon applicable for December 25 onwards. Now we are going to go to the next video on transportation. So this is another topic, very important topic from examination point of view. Now what exactly is transportation? It is also a special case of linear programming. So what exactly is transportation? Let's understand with the help of a example here, so that you'll get a perfect understanding of what is transportation. So if you see here, in this, a company is having three factories here, a manufacturing company, X, Y and Z. Now this stock, whatever inventory they are producing, this has to be transported to the warehouses, their own warehouses, okay, which are located at different places, because we all know that generally we keep our warehouses very nearer to our customers, so that quickly we can deliver our goods. So generally the warehouse and the factories will be different. Now if you see in this question, they have four warehouses, A, B, C, D. These are the four warehouses. Now, apart from this, what else is given in this matrix is, inside these cells represents the transportation cost per unit applicable to each warehouse. What is the transportation cost per unit applicable from the respective source to the destination here? So that is what inside you have, transportation cost per unit. Then for every factory, what is the production capacity is also given, 48, 30 to 40. This is the maximum each of these factories can produce. At the same time, what is the demand from the warehouses, that is also given here. What is the demand here is 16, 20, 40, 44. Now what is the objective here is, why we are calling it as a special case of linear programming is because these are the reasons. We have an objective in this question. What is the objective is, now how many units I need to transport to each of these destinations, that is from factory X to A, B, C, D, or from Y to A, B, C, D, from Z to A, B, C, D. How many units I need to transport in order to ensure that my transportation cost is the minimum. My overall objective is to minimize the transportation cost of transporting goods from these respective factories to the respective warehouses. This is the objective. So we need to find out how many units here, from X to A1 how many units are, X to B1 how many units. So now the function is what? To minimize the transportation cost. And what are the variables here? How many units I need to transport from each factory to each warehouse. And what is the condition here is, all demand should get fulfilled. Whatever is the demand at the warehouses should get fulfilled. And production capacity is limited. These are the conditions. Production capacity is only 48, 32 and 40. So that is limited. And you need to fulfill the entire demand of all the warehouses. The thing is, but you have the capacity limited. So now in order to achieve the objective of how many units I need to transport to each warehouse, so that my overall cost is minimum. So basically this is transportation chapter is all about minimization. Minimization is the objective. Now next point is, how do I get the answer? How many units to be transported? So to get the solution, we have a flow. So already I have told you that it is a special case of linear programming. To get the solution, we use algorithm. Algorithm is nothing but repetitive steps. In assignment also we have repetitive steps, no? So like that, even for transportation also we have repetitive steps, algorithm. So how the solution will flow, first you should understand here. So this is how the solution will flow. Begin, start, Then get the solution. Solution is nothing but how many units I need to transport. That is called as the initial solution or the basic solution. This is the first thing what we are going to do whenever we are doing a transportation problem. Initial solution we have to do. Now to get this solution we have three methods. What are those? We will discuss. To get the initial solution we have three methods. You all might be knowing that. What is that? Northwest corner rule method. Northwest corner rule method. Second one is least cost method. Least cost method, LCM. And third one is VAM, Vogel's approximation method. So these are the three methods we have to get the initial solution. Once you get initial solution, now what we have to do is we have to check whether that solution is optimum solution or not. We call that as optimality test. Okay, if you fail optimality test, if the answer is no, if you pass optimality test is done, yes, that means you have achieved the optimum solution. But in case if you fail, what is the meaning of failing is, that is the initial solution will not give you the least transportation costs. Then what we need to do is we need to improve our initial solution. That means we need to go back to our initial solution, work on it, improve that, and then perform again optimality test. Okay, then if that passes the conditions and if it is a perfect one, the least cost, then that is the optimal solution. So this is the flow of your transportation problem. This is how we proceed. So first we need to get initial solution, then optimality test. Now initial solution can be obtained using three methods. What are the three methods? Northwest corner rule method. Northwest corner rule method. Second one is LCM, least cost method. Third one is Vogel's approximation method. This is very, very important. In examination, generally we do this only. And out of three, third one is the best method. So that is the reason this one is followed. So these are the three methods to get initial solution. Next, even to perform optimality test, to check whether the solution whatever we got will give us least cost or not. For that also we have two methods. One is stepping stone method. The other one is modified distribution method. We also call this as U plus V method. So second one is modified distribution method. First one is stepping stone. So generally in our material we find this modified distribution method only. So this only we are going to apply. So everyone, I hope you got the flow now. Flow. First initial solution using any of these three methods, then optimality test using any of these two. So usually which one we apply also I told you. Right. Now time for us to get the solution using this three methods. Taking the same example here. So let us take the same example now. This example only. Now how to get this allocation of the how many units here to each warehouse using this northwest corner rule method is a very simple method. Follow this. So this is only your northwest corner rule method, initial solution by northwest corner rule method. So first, before we proceed to this method, preliminary check we have to do. In case of assignment we had a preliminary check. No, here also there is a preliminary check. What is that preliminary check is? Your production capacity, your supply must be equal to demand. Total production capacity or supply must be equal to availability or demand. If you see here, the total of these three is 120 and the total of these four is 120. That means what? The problem is balanced. So this is the first check. Now what if your problem is not balanced? For example, the sum of these four warehouses you are getting 110. Say for example 110. Then what we do is we introduce a dummy column, dummy warehouse with a 10 as the quantity, and inside we will take 0 as the cost, transportation cost. This is what we do. Same the case with even row wise also. So row wise also, if you get 110, here 120 you have, there 110 if you have. So dummy row you introduce with a 0 when with balancing figure quantity, inside you take zeros, the cost. That is what we are supposed to do. Now under northwest corner rule method, what we have to do is, first you allocate northwest corner. What is northwest? This is the northwest corner. Northwest corner. Northwest corner this is. So this is called as R1 C1. Starting from here we should give allocation. This is the starting point for us. So here let's take here what is the quantity we can allocate is, if you see A means here warehouse A. Warehouse A, what is the maximum demand? 16. And what is the maximum quantity that factory X can deliver is 48. So now you tell me, in this cell how many units you can transport to warehouse A? Warehouse A demand is only 16. So how do you transport 48 units there? So that is the reason max how many we can allocate there? 16 we can allocate. After that immediately this has become 0. And here this 48 got reduced to 32. Why? Because out of your 48 capacity units, 16 already you allocated to warehouse A. You are going to transport there. Done. So now downwards not possible. Why? Because this has become 0. Now if it is not 0, we would have come downwards only. Now right side we have to move. Next cell. Now here how much we can allocate maximum? Now here we have 32, here we have 20. So whichever is lower, again same logic whatever we have played there. So what is the maximum I can allocate here is 20. 0. Right. So what you do is, when you are doing under northwest corner, you draw the columns, rows, don't take the cost. Let it be open. Okay, just show the allocations there. Then here also once 20 is allocated, if you see this got exhausted. So that means we cannot come downwards. We can only go towards the right. So again if you see next cell, after allocating 20 here, 32 has become 12. 32 minus 20 is 12. Now 12, or if you see here how many are there? 40. Whichever is lower means 12 you can allocate. So this 40 will become 28. 40 minus 12 is 28. Now you can come downwards. The reason is still you have 28 left now. You will not go towards the right. You will come downwards. So now in this cell, here you have 32. Here you have 28. So whichever is lower. So 28 you allocated. So then this will become 0. Next. This will become 4 now. Why 32 minus 28? 4. Okay, so since this got exhausted, this line, now downwards you will not come. You will go right side. So in this cell how much I can allocate now? Here what is the balance left? 4. Here you have 44. So whichever is lower means 4 you allocated. So this will become 0. 44 will become 40. Now since it is not got exhausted, you can come downwards. If you come downwards now, next cell, how much you can allocate? Here you have 40, here you have 40. Whichever is same, 40. Done. So this is how we do it under northwest corner rule method. So starting from the northwest corner, okay, what do you need to do? Start from northwest corner and allocate the maximum quantity possible there, starting from here. Okay, starting from the northwest corner, allocate the maximum possible quantity. What is the maximum possible quantity? The production or the demand, whichever is lower. Okay, then move either right or downwards depending on whether your quantities got exhausted or not. See, if your column got exhausted, you will not come downwards, you will go right side. Okay, so whatever is the unallocated portion is there, you will allocate following those conditions. So start at northwest corner R1 and C1, allocate maximum possible quantity. Move right or downwards depending on quantity unallocated. Continue step 2 till all allocations are done. So same step you will repeat till all allocations are done. If you see in this method, what is the limitation is, nowhere we considered cost. Cost is not at all considered here. So that is a major problem in this. Okay. Already I told you, rule for allocation in a cell is supply or demand, whichever is lower. So this is your northwest corner rule method for getting the initial solution. Okay. So what is the limitation of this initial solution method is cost is not considered for allocating quantity. Now let us move to next method, least cost method. Here cost is considered. So initial solution by least cost method. Under this method what we will do is, out of entire matrix, select the least cost cell. Now this is the matrix. Let's go to this one. This is the matrix. In this, select the least cost cell. Which is the least cost cell? 1.5. Here you allocate how much? Maximum how much I can allocate? Either 16 or 40, whichever is lower only I can allocate. So I can allocate here 16. So that is the reason I have allocated 16. After allocating 16, this will become 0. So you have to strike off this column. Why? Because warehouse A, from factory Z to warehouse A, how much they have to transfer? 16. That means warehouse A you cannot transfer from any other factory, you cannot transport to warehouse A. That is the reason you have to strike off this. Now the same formula, same flow, that is again out of the remaining. Now these are the remaining, no, least cost. What is the least cost in that? 3 is the least cost. So first if you see, I have done 16 allocation. After doing 16 allocation, what will happen? This one will become 0, and here it will be 40 will become 24. Then next, what is the next one? Remaining, out of this remaining, 3 is the least cost, no? So how much I can allocate? Already 40 has become how much? 24. 24 or 44, whichever is lower. So 24. At 3 what I can allocate? You can see here 24 I allocated, 24 I wrote. So write cost smaller, allocations bigger, in square box you can put here. So 24 I allocated. After allocating 24 here, so Z completely will get exhausted 0. Here 44 will become 20. Done. So which one got exhausted here? Factory Z got exhausted. Completed, it has become 0. So we should strike off this now. We should strike off this. Okay, then now remaining. Out of the remaining, again you should go for next least cost. What is the next least cost after that? So I am doing here. So 24 is done. This has become 0. This is 20. So this you crossed out. This one is crossed out. This one. This row is crossed out. Now left is only this. Out of this, what is the least cost? 3.5. 3.5, how much? Either 40 or 48, whichever is lower. So 40 I allocated here. After 40 allocation, this one will become 0. This one will become 8. So strike off. Why I am taking here also? Because if I am allocating 40 means, what is the meaning of that? From factory X, we are going to transport how many to warehouse C? 40. So that means this capacity we have to reduce or not. That is the reason we are reducing. At the same time, even warehouse also warehouse demand is also getting fulfilled or not if you transport. So that is the reason 40 also we have to cross. That is the reason both we are adjusting. So once I allocate 40 quantity here, what is the left now? 8 only left. This has become 0. So since it has become 0, it is not available now. Warehouse C you cannot transport. So this one is over. Okay, this one is also over, and this column is also over. Now only this one left. 11, 6, 6, 4. Out of this least one is which one? 4. So 4, what is the balance we can allocate out of? Already you have 20 here and 32 here. Whichever is lower means 20 only you can allocate here. You can allocate 20. Then this will become 12. This will become 0. So again this one you have to strike off. Now only left is this. So in this also again least cost is which one? 6. 6 no. Here you left with 12. 12. Here you left with here you left with 12. You left with 8. Whichever is lower means here 8 no. Yes. You should have gone with 8 here. So let me do that. So I will do by this least cost method I am taking. X is 611. 6 small you take 11. 3.5 C. Then Y 2 small 654 32. Z 1.5 1.5 11 4.5 3. Yes, 16 20 40 44. Sixteen, 20, 40, 44. Yes, according to least cost method, first you should select out of the entire matrix, take the least cost, where it is 1.5 is the least cost. So what is the maximum I can allocate here? 16 or 40, whichever is lower. So 16 I am allocating. This one will become 0, this one will become 24. Okay. So this column I need to strike off. This one I am striking off because that is not available for again allocation. Now remaining again least cost. Least cost is 3. 3 how much I can allocate? 24 or 44, whichever is lower. So 24 here. 24 I can allocate. So this one will become 20, this one will become 0. So that means again Z you cannot transport anything, any more quantity. So this row is done. Now out of the remaining least again select. What is the least one here? 3.5. This is the least. Here what is the quantity we can allocate? 40 or 48, whichever is lower. So only 40 I can allocate. Then this one will become 8, this one will become 0. So again warehouse C if demand is fulfilled. So strike it out. Done. Now out of the remaining 11, 6, 6, least one is 4. Okay, there how much I can allocate here? 4, 20, column wise, row wise 32, whichever is lower means 20 I can allocate. This one will become how much? 12, this one will become 0. Okay, now again this, which one has become 0? This one has become 0. Now we are left with this only one single column here. In this two, which one is lower? 6 is lower. No cost, least cost, whichever is lower, 12 or 20. 12 I can allocate here. And this will become 0, this will become 8. 20 minus 12 is 8. Now here what is the maximum I can allocate? 8. Done. So this is least cost method. So what is the criteria here? Least cost. So what we will do under least cost? Identify least cost in the entire matrix and then allocate maximum possible quantity. Maximum possible quantity. After that, strike off the exhausted. Strike off exhausted row or column. Strike of exhausted row or column. Repeat above steps. So what is the problem in this method is cost is considered, no doubt, but initially what we are doing with the least cost we are allocating. Now later part whatever quantity we are allocating at higher cost we are allocating. The unallocated quantity now towards the later part whatever we are allocating, that we are allocating at higher cost, because minimum cost we allocated maximum quantities now. So the balance quantities are allocated at higher cost. That is the limitation of this method. Now at the end all remaining quantities are allocated at higher cost cells. Now in this one problem can come. What is that is, if there is a tie in least cost, say if you have least cost say 1.5 only, then see where we can allocate maximum quantity. Whichever cell can take maximum quantity, there you can do it whenever there is a tie in least cost. Select based on quantity that can be allocated, that is higher quantity. Wherever higher quantity can be possible, there you can consider that. Done. So that is your second method, least cost method, for getting the initial solution. Now third one is very important, little complex. What is that is Vogel's approximation method. It is also called as regret method, okay, or penalty method also. So in this method what we do is, first we calculate. So already I have written here, this is considered as the best method. Out of the three methods, which one we are going to follow in the exam also is this Vogel's approximation method only. So in the absence of information in the question, always use VAM. So under VAM what we have to do is, first you should take the entire cell's cost, with a smaller font, take the capacity and demand also. Okay, capacity you can take bigger one, figures size you increase. Okay, now start calculating the penalties. What is penalty? Row wise, column wise you should calculate penalty. How you should calculate penalties? Every row, okay, from the calculate the difference between first least cost cell and second least cost cell. What you should do? Calculate the difference between first least cost and second least cost. That is, in this row what is the first least cost? 3.5. What is the second least cost? 6. So the difference between these two you should consider as a penalty. Okay. So why we are calling this as a penalty here? 2.5, why we are calling it as a penalty is, now instead of, my objective is to allocate to least cost only, no? Yes. So instead of this, if I allocate to the next one, if I allocate to what? This one, then what is my regret? That is what we are calculating here. So first step is we should calculate the penalty. 3.5, 6 difference, 2.5. Again second row, 2. Next list is 4, 2. Third one. Now you might get a doubt, sir, what if least costs are, there is a tie between least cost. So you have least cost 2 same. So here we have 3.5, another one also you have 3.5. Then you should not go to the next least. You should take 0 as the penalty there. You should take 0 as the penalty. Now second row, what is the least cost? First least cost 2. Second least cost is 4. So 2. Third row, least cost is 1.5. Next least cost is 3. So 1.5. Same thing you should calculate column wise also. The same penalty you should calculate column wise. So let us calculate now column wise here. First column wise penalty, least column wise if you see 2, next 1.5 and then 2, so 0.5. Next 6, next one is 11, so 5. Okay, next one is 3.5, 4.5, so 1. Here 3 and 4, 1. So we calculated penalty. How did we calculate penalty? Calculate the difference between first least and second least figure row wise, column wise also. This is our first step. Okay, then the next step is, out of these penalties, select the maximum penalty here. What is the maximum penalty, either row wise or column wise? What is the maximum penalty here? 5 is the maximum penalty here. 5 is the maximum penalty. In this you select the least cost. In this you select the least cost. In this column, that is, select the least cost here. What is the least cost? 6. What is the least cost here? 6. So here you allocate the maximum quantity here. Allocate the maximum possible quantity. So what is the maximum possible quantity here is 20 or 2, whichever is, so 20 or 32, whichever is lower. So 20 we can allocate. So this will become 0. This will become 32 minus 20 is 12. So now we have to strike off this because this got exhausted. This we should strike off. Okay. Now, because why we are striking off is this should not be considered for calculating penalties again. Done. Next, second time again we should follow the same procedure. So if you see what is the logic here of calculating penalty here is, out of that we are selecting maximum penalties. Out of the penalties we are selecting maximum, and there out of that also least cost we are selecting, giving the maximum quantity. See, when you selected, when you calculated penalty here, you are taking least cost and next least cost. So what is that? That is the, what is that is, instead of selecting the first one, if you are selecting the next least cost, this is a maximum loss you will get or not. What is the maximum loss? 2.5 to 1.5. That is the reason we are calling it as what? Penalty, or we can also call that as regret. By not allocating to the first one, if you allocate to the second one, okay, this is a regret or not? Yes. Now out of that also, maximum you are selecting. Maximum regret is what? 5. So wherever is a maximum regret, so there you go, I mean that one you select, in that column only you take the least cost. In that column only you take what? Least cost. There you allocate the maximum possible quantity there. Yes. So if you see the steps here, I have not written for steps. We will write now in simple words, we will write the steps also. Let's refer to the, I will also show you institute's steps. So Ogle's approximation method, if you see, what are the steps here? First step is calculate penalty values for each row and column, where penalty is difference between the smallest value and next smallest value of unit transportation cost provided in the problem. In case there are 2 or more minimum values in the same row or column, if you have 2 or more same minimum values, then take the corresponding penalty as 0. Second one is identify the row or column having the highest of penalty values computed in step number 1. That is what we have done. Highest value. In the identified row or column, we identified, now what is the identified, this one, no, highest penalty. In this, now this is the identified column. In the identified column, what we have to do? In the identified row or column, choose the cell having least cost figure. That is what I have done, and allocate the maximum as possible number of units maintaining the constraint of supply and demand. As a result, either the supply or demand will fully exhausted and corresponding row or column should be omitted from consideration of further allocations. That is the reason what we have done. Since this got exhausted here, we have removed that. So we have striked it off from our calculations, next calculations, because it got exhausted. If a tie occurs in the penalties, now in the penalties also, say if there is a tie between say 5 is there highest, if there is a tie, then we will see in whichever column we have the least, whichever penalty we have the least one, we will do. If a tie occurs in the penalty, select the row or column which has minimum cost figure among its cells. So if there is a tie between two columns or two rows, see whether row wise or column wise where you have least cost. If there is a tie in that value also, even least cost also, if there is a tie, then in whichever cell maximum quantity that can be allocated, that cell you should prefer. Go for the cell which have highest allocation among such cells. If there is a tie in this value also, okay, even if there is a tie in the value also, maximum quantity also, if it is same, then arbitrary selection you can do. First penalty, if it is same, highest penalties are same, then out of the two penalties, whichever is giving you least cost, that you can select for allocation of quantity. Even if least cost is also there is a tie, then in whichever cells maximum quantity that can be allocated, that you can select. Even quantity is also the same, then you can do arbitrary allocation. That is what is given here. Okay, so now the steps should be repeated now here. So reduce the supply value of row or demand value of the column which is not completely exhausted by the amount allocated in the previous step. Then, so we have reduced accordingly. Recompute the row and column penalties for reduced matrix of transportation and repeat step number 3 and 4 until the allocations are done. In other words, it should continue until total supply and demand values are fully exhausted. So the same steps repeatedly we have to do. So first time penalty is over. Now again next time calculate the penalties out of the remaining figures. So 3.5 minus 6. Don't take negative values here, okay. 3.56 is 2.5. Next 2, 4, 2. Next one 1.5, 3. 1.5. Here there is no change. We same 2, 1.5, 2.5. This is not considered here. Same 1 only. Here also 1. Now out of this, what is the maximum? 2.5 is maximum. In this least cost, 3.5 is the least cost. What is the maximum we can allocate? 40 or 48, whichever is lower. So 40, this one will become 0. So I am allocating 40 here. So this one will become 8. So then we should strike off this column. Okay. Now again next third time penalty we should calculate. 6 minus 6, 0. 2 minus 4, 2. 1.5. Here it is same, 0.5. Not applicable, not applicable. Next here 3 minus 4, 1. 1 only. Out of this maximum is 2. What is the least cost in this? Least cost is 2. How much we can allocate here? either 12 or 16, whichever is lower. So 12 we can allocate. So this one will become 4, this one will become 0. So now this particular row is not available. Now next time again penalty we should calculate. 6 minus 6, 0. This is not available. Here 1.5 minus 3, 1.5. Here 0.5, not available. Here it is 1. So out of this maximum is 1.5. Least cost 1.5. So how much I can allocate here? 4 or 40, whichever is lower. 4. 0. This one will become 36. So again we have to strike off this one also. Now you are left with only last column there. Okay. Now in this, how much I can allocate here? First one I can allocate only 8. You can see here 8 or 44, whichever is lower. So only 8 I can allocate here. So this one will become 0 and this one will become 36. And again last one, how much I can allocate? 36 or 36. So 36 I am getting. So these are my allocations. Okay, where I got allocations here? This one is one allocation. 12, 20. This is one allocation. 40 here. Units these are. 36, 40. Okay, so these are the steps under Ogle's approximation method. So what are the steps here? First you should calculate what? Penalties. What you should calculate? In each row and column you should calculate penalties first. Then each row and column penalties you are calculating. How do you calculate penalty? The difference between first least cost and next least cost. Okay, you have steps also. You can write down in your notebook referring to your institute material, or I will write down quickly. So what are the steps here? In each row and column calculate or select least cost, first least cost and second least cost. In each row and column, select the first least cost and second least cost. Calculate their difference. Calculate their difference. Okay. This is the first step. Step number 2 is, so what is the difference meaning here? The difference is nothing but we are calling it as penalty. So what exactly is penalty here? If minimum is missed, then next higher is at which amount? If minimum is missed, then next higher is at which amount? That is the meaning of your penalty or regret, what we call it as. If you miss the first one, then the second one. So it is like, regret. So that is a penalty here. Now out of that, what we are doing, we are taking the maximum here. Okay, out of that we are taking least cost, and there we are giving maximum quantity. Okay, so this second step is save the highest penalty. Save highest penalty by allocating. Save the highest penalty by allocating the maximum possible. This is the logic here. Save the highest penalty by allocating the maximum possible quantity to the least cost. To the least cost cell of the highest penalty row or column. So what is the meaning of difference or penalty is, if first one least cost is missed, then next higher is at what amount. Okay, now to save that highest, now what we are doing, then out of that highest we are selecting now. Yes, out of that highest row or column, penalty column, then we are taking out of that least. So what we are doing is we are saving that highest penalty. How we are saving the highest penalty is by selecting the least cost and allocating the maximum quantity there. Out of that, what we are selecting, least cost we are selecting and giving the maximum quantity. So that is how we are avoiding that particular in that wherever there is a higher penalty. So what we have done is we have calculated penalties for each row and column or not. Now what I want to do, I want to ensure that my penalty is not maximum. Okay, so that I would like to save. To save that, what I am doing is I am selecting the least cost and allocating the maximum quantity. So that is the logic of this. Why we are selecting the highest penalty and giving to the least cost. Okay, once you do that, then if either column or row gets exhausted, then you strike it off. Again repeat the same steps. Strike off third point. Strike off the exhausted, strike off the exhausted row or column. So if any row or column gets exhausted, it becomes 0, then strike it off. Repeat the same steps. Repeat above steps till entire demand gets fulfilled. Okay, so these are the steps under Vogel's approximation method, VAM. Penalty you calculate. While calculating penalty, if you have a least cost, minimum cost same, okay, then take the difference as 0. Don't forget, it's very important point. Many people will ignore that. They will take the next least cost. Say first row, if I have was 6 only as minimum, then I should take directly 0. Don't go for the next highest. Okay, now this is your initial solution done. So in our flow chart, first one we have completed. Initial solution is done. Now what we have to do is we have to check whether that solution is correct or not, whether that will result in least cost or not. For that we are going to use modified distribution method. Modified distribution method. So next one is optimality test. We are going to use modified distribution method. Which method we are going to apply? Modified distribution method. In this, two matrix you have to prepare. Okay, two tables you have to prepare. Table 1 In this, we have to prepare two tables. Table number 1 is U plus V matrix. We call this as U plus V matrix. Okay, then table number 2 is change matrix. Change matrix. Table number 1 is U plus V matrix. Okay, other one is change matrix. These are the two matrices you have to prepare. Okay, so for the above example, let us do optimality test now. So let's do optimality test for above example. So we got the initial solution. No? What is the initial allocations we have got now here? Yes, these are the allocations according to our VAM method. So whether it will result in least cost or not, that is a test we are performing now. First we should prepare U plus V matrix. Okay, before we perform this optimality test, there is a preliminary check. What is the preliminary check is? Preliminary check again here also. Important, this is very important. What is that preliminary check is? M plus N minus 1. What is M here is M is equal to number of rows. M is equal to number of rows, which are nothing but factories in our example. How many factories we have? 3 factories. N is equal to number of columns. Number of columns. In our example, it is warehouse. How many? 4 warehouses are there. So now 3 plus 4 minus 1 is equal to 6. Okay. And number of allocations. How many we got number of allocations? Here, how many allocations we got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 allocation we got. So M plus N minus 1 is equal to number of allocations. Number of allocations in previous solution. How many we got? Number of allocations is equal to 6. So now the gate is open. Now you can move forward. So before the gate is open, first you have to check this condition. Before you perform this optimality test, first you need to do this preliminary check. That is M plus 1 minus 1 must be equal to number of allocations. What is the reason for this is, you cannot prepare U plus V matrix without this condition being satisfied. Once it is satisfied, then you can write this as non-degenerated solution. Okay, what we can call this as non-degenerated solution. Now you might ask, sir, what if M plus N minus 1 is not equal to your number of allocations? We call that as degenerated solution. Degenerated solution. Non-degenerated solution. Non-degenerated solution. Now what if your M plus number of allocations is number of allocations, that is M plus N minus 1 less than your allocations. If number of allocations less than m plus not equal to your m plus n minus 1, then we call it as degenerated solution. Degenerated solution. So if you get non-degenerated solution, then we can proceed further. That is the indication. If you satisfy this condition, then we can proceed further. But what if your m plus 1 minus 1 is not equal to number of allocations? We call that as degenerated solutions. Degenerated solution. So what we need to do for that, later on I will tell you. Okay. Later on I am going to tell you in case of degenerated what we are supposed to do. Later on we are going to cover that. Now let us prepare U plus V matrix. I am preparing now U plus V matrix. So one is U plus V matrix we have to prepare. Other one is change matrix. U plus V matrix, other one is change matrix. So what you do is, now whatever allocations we have done here using VAM, whichever cells got allocations, only those cells cost you write inside those boxes. Remaining you can leave empty. So total how many are there? 4, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now for in this first take for allocated cells, the cost you take. What is the cost of allocated cells? What are the allocated cells here? Second row 12 allocate. Now what is the cost of that? 2. 2 is the cost here. Take 2. Okay, then next 6 allocated there. 6, cost of that is 6. Then first row third one 3.5 6, 3.5 6. Next third row first 1.5 last 3, 1.5 last 3. So what I have done here, for whatever allocations you have done, whichever cells allocation has been done, that cells cost you take the cost of those cells. Okay, now do this. Take this as U. Here you have to calculate U values. This is V. Okay, this is U, this is V. Row wise U, column wise V. First take this as 0. First take this as 0. Let this be 0. So using this, now we need to calculate U plus V we should calculate. First, what we have done, we copied here, I'm writing here, copy cost of allocated cells. Copy cost of allocated cells first. I have done that only. You have copied cost of allocated cells? Yes. Then starting from right first row, okay, take u value is equal to 0. U value is equal to 0. Now u plus v must be equal to cost. What is the condition here? The condition is, second point here. Before we go to that, what you do is, once you take this cost, no, okay, then you can cut this here, allocated cells. The reason for that is you will not have confusion. Cut allocated cells. Do that, okay? In exam it will help you. Third one is, use this equation, cost is equal to u plus v. Inside cost is there, no, that cost is equal to u plus v. This is the equation you have to use. Cost is equal to u plus v. So first I am taking 0 here. 0 as u value, v value we don't know, but cost I know. What is the cost? 6. U value is 0. V value. So what should be the v value to ensure that our inside cost is equal to 0? To satisfy this, what should be the v value? V value must be equal to 6. V value must be equal to 6 here. Then only 0 plus 6 is equal to 6 here. Next. Second one, we got here 3 we have. 3. So my cost is 3. U value I don't know, but v value I know 6. So tell me what is the u value here? U value is minus 3. U value is minus 3 here. If it is minus 3, then 6 minus 3 you will have inside 3. Next allocations. You have 3.5 cost. This one is 0. U is 0. So v must be how much? 3.5. This must be how much? 3.5 only, no? V. This must be 3.5. Then only 3.5 will match according to the equation. Okay, next. Here we have 1.5. 1.5, we have a u value minus 3, but we don't know v value. So what is the v value? Can you tell me? It will be 4.5. 4.5. Done. Next, this one also I got. Next, this one I know here 3.5 u value, v value we know. So 3.5 minus 3. Now I don't know cost. Cost is equal to. Now remaining all you can calculate the cost here. One more thing is I need to get u value here. How I can get u values? First off, let us get uv values. Then cost values easily we can get. Now if you see, we have v value, cost value. Cost is 2. Here, this one. I am talking about this one. 2. Cost is there. U value we don't know. V value is 4.5. So how much should be the u value to have match that equation? It is minus 2.5. Minus 2.5. Okay. Now only one is left. Here second column we should find out the v value. Using which one we can find out? Yes, 6 is there, no? 6 we can use. 6 is the cost inside. 6 is equal to, what is the u value? Minus 2.5 plus v value we don't know. So what should be the v value to ensure this equation is matched? So V value will be 8.5. Then it will match. Now you got all U values and V values. Inside easily you can calculate now cos. Okay. So once you get this, then you can calculate the U value. So what we have done, tell me, U plus V, how we got? First, let U is equal to 0. Let U is equal to 0 for which one? First row. First row, and find U and V for each row and column. Each row and column using the equation cost is equal to U plus V. Cost is equal to U plus V. That is what we have done exactly using this equation only. First you should take first row U value is equal to 0. Then cost is equal to U plus V. You can find out the values. Okay, then after that, once you get the U value and V value, then you can get the cost for unallocated cells using a U and V of, first UV you get, then using U and V of each row and column, find cost of unallocated cells. Cost of unallocated cells, that is blank cells. For the blank cells, what we should calculate? What is the cost we should calculate? Okay, yes. This is how you should calculate U plus V matrix. Done? Yes. Now, other matrix. What is other matrix is? Change matrix. What is other matrix? Change matrix. How do you get change matrices? Take first same table. How many? 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what you do is, whichever cells got allocation, that you can cut in your third one got allocation, fourth cell also got allocation, here also second row, this also got allocation, this one also got allocation, this one also got allocation, right? So first step is here, cut the allocated cells. Then step number 2 is calculate the change values. Change values here for the unallocated. Change is equal to original cost minus cost in U plus V. Original cost minus cost in U plus V. So in this first blank cell, what is the original cost you have? Go to the table now. What is the original cost you have? 6. 6 minus what is the U plus V value we got here? U plus V value. Oh, we did not calculate only. We have to calculate that U plus V unallocated find cost. So 0 plus 4.5. How much this will be? 4.5. 0 plus 8.5. This will be 8.5. Then minus 3 plus 8.5. How much it will be? 5.5. 3.5 minus 3, 0.5. Then minus 2.5 plus 3.5, 1. Then 6 minus 2.5 is 3.5. So unallocated I got U plus V value, cost. Now How do you get this changes of unallocated cells? Original matrix cost minus, what is the original value? 6 minus u plus v value is 4.5. So how much you got here is equal to 1.5 you are getting. What is the value you got? 1.5. Second one, original value is 11. And what is the u plus value? 8.5. So how much you are getting is equal to 2.5 you got. 2.5. Then here original cost of this is 5 and u plus v value is 1 minus 1. So what we got? 4. For this original value is 4. This one u plus v value is 3.5. I am taking original table cost, that is. So what we are getting? 0.5. So little bigger you can take. This is 4. This one is 4 minus 3.5 is equal to 0.5. Here original cost is 11. 11 minus 5.5 is your u plus v value. You are getting 5.5. This one is 4.5 minus 0.5. 4. Okay. So we got the change. So what does this indicates now? Here you calculated unallocated sales cost now. So when you compare with other allocated costs, when you compare with other allocated cells, what is the cost of these cells you calculated? That is, for whatever you have allocation, all are least cost only have done allocation now. Yes. So taking that as a base now, what I have done, I have calculated what is the cost if you select these particular cells. What is the cost if you with respect to allocations, what is the cost? These cells you will have, that you have calculated here. Okay. So forget about this logic now for temporarily. So just follow the steps here. In my regular class, so I spend time, but here since it is a revision, my objective is to quickly make revision for you. So let's focus on that. So here what we are doing is, just I gave you a small idea here why we are doing like this u plus v cost, why we are with, when you take this as a base, allocated cells as a base here, what should have been the cost here? That is what we have done. Now change matrix, how do you calculate? Original minus u plus v value you calculated. Now if this change values either positive or 0, then you have achieved the optimum solution. Okay, once you calculate this original cost minus cost in u plus v, if those values either positive or 0, that means you have achieved the optimum solution. See, why we have cut this is because here the change will be 0, no? Why we have cut this allocated cells is original cost minus this u plus v value. If you take the difference in this allocated cells will be 0 only, no? That is the reason we have cut that. So third point here is the change of the change values of allocated cells. The change value of allocated cells, that is cut cells, are always 0. Always 0. Okay. Next, fourth point. Now the solution is optimum once the solution is optimum if the change of unallocated cells are 0 or positive. Okay, the change of unallocated the change values of the unallocated cells either 0 or positive. 0 means no extra cost. So even if it is 0, that means what? Even if you do allocations there, overall cost is not going to change. But if you get negative there, negative indicates that if you allocate there, your total cost will decrease. So that is not the optimal solution. That means what? If you allocate there, your cost will decrease. If it is negative, means what is the meaning of that is your cost will decrease if you do allocations there. So that is the reason either you should get positive, that unallocated cells change values, or 0. Then it is optimum solution. That means you cannot achieve lower cost than that. Okay. So either positive or 0. That means we have achieved the optimum solution. Okay. So what does this change represents? I am writing here. What this change represents is additional cost if one unit is allocated to that cell. If you allocate to that cell, what is the extra cost you are going to here? 1.5 extra cost you will incur. To this cell, if you allocate any extra unit, 2.5 you are going to incur. Extra cost you will incur. So that is the meaning of change. So if change is equal to positive, what does it mean? If change is positive value, what does it indicate is cost will increase if allocation is done to that cell, Okay. So if you are getting positive your change value, that means what? If you allocate to that cell, you will incur extra cost. So overall cost will increase. So that should not be done. So no allocation to be done. Okay, but what if it is negative? So what does it indicate is here, if you get positive, you should not do any allocation. That is, no allocation to be done to the positive cells. Now if you get negative, your change value is equal to negative. Here it indicates that your overall cost will decrease. If you allocate now to that particular cell, your cost will decrease. That is the meaning of your change value is equal to negative. Cost will decrease. If allocation is done to that cell. By way of improved solution. Okay, so if you get negative, then there is a problem. Then you have to improve your initial solution. But if it is positive or 0, that means that is the best solution. That is the minimum cost what you got. So in this case now, since we got all our change values, okay, either positive or 0 only. All allocated it is 0 only now. Yes. So what is the solution? As in our example, as all the change elements are 0 or positive, no further best solution is possible. No further best solution possible. So this is the least cost that you can get. Okay, so what is the optimum solution now is, so what is the minimum cost you will incur is calculation of minimum cost. So this is only our main requirement, no, minimum cost. What is the overall minimum cost you will incur is optimum solution only. This is factory, then warehouse, quantity, what is the cost, transportation cost per unit, and then total cost. So first go back to your allocation now. Factory X to warehouse C, 40 units. Factory X to C, how many? 40. To D, 8 we got. To D we got 8. You can check it here. And what is the cost here? 3.5. 40 at 3.5. Cost is 3.5 here. And D cost is 6. So multiply quantity into cost now. 40 into 3.5 is 140. This is 48. Next, from factory Y we got allocation to A 12, B 20. A 12, B 20. B 20. And what is the cost there? 2, 6. At the rate 2, 6. So 24, 120. Then factory Z. Factory Z allocation is done to A and D. A and D. A is how many? A is 4 units. A is 4 and D is 36. A is 4, D is 36. And what is the cost per unit here? A 1.5, D 3. 1.53. So this is 36 into 3 here, total is 108. So add all this, the total will be equal to 446. This is the minimum cost you will incur. Okay. Now here how to get this improved solution, that also we have to learn. When we should do, when the change matrix cells gives you negative values. Negative value indicates that if you do any allocation there, your overall cost will decrease. That is the meaning. Your overall cost will decrease. So in that case we have to do we have to get improved solution. So what we should do for that, we will see in the question only directly. Similarly, one more case is what? Degeneracy. If your m plus 1 minus 1 condition also is there now, if it is not equal to allocations, we call it as degeneracy. So in that case what we are supposed to do? That is one case. These are the cases in transportation. Okay, so here we got the, without any improvement, directly we got the solution. Now what we will do is, we will do a question where we have negative values, where we got negative values. We'll take up that question from institute material. So this is one question. So you have special cases of transportation also, very important. Unbalanced maximization, degeneracy, I told you, no. multiple optimum solutions, problems having prohibited or preferred routes. Now before that, what if your change values you are getting a so here you have a profit maximization question also. To this profit maximization, we have to convert into opportunity cost matrix. Maximization objective, if it is there, then we have to convert into minimization by preparing that also we will cover special case. So I'm looking for a question here where we have this degeneracy case. I mean not degeneracy, that is where improvement is suggested. Okay, so I will give you one question here. Let us do that question using VAM only. I will cover that. Example 2. I think it is there part of your CMA material only. Missing. Okay, I'll give you that. Example number 2. So these are distribution centers. Distribution centers. X, Y, Z. These are the distribution centers. And you have retail outlets. Retail outlets given. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and they also gave inside transportation cost in rupees per unit. 55, 35, 40. So this is the case of improved solution problem. Improved solution. Improved solution problem. Important from examination point of view. Improved solution problem. This is 55, 35, 40, 30, 30, 60, 40, 100, 95, 50, 45, 35, 40, 60, 30. Okay, and what is the capacity here is, they have given has distribution centers. Each one has the centers have 40, 20 and 40 units of his product, and then retail outlets, how much they want is demand. Retail outlets demand is 25, 10, 20, 30, 15. Okay, so this is a question. This is mock test paper December 19. This question. Okay, now first, what is the first condition whenever you are doing this transportation problem? Preliminary check. What is the preliminary check? Your capacity must be equal to demand. Total capacity must be equal to demand. What is the total capacity? Total capacity is equal to 40 plus 20 plus 40, 100. Demand is equal to 25 plus 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 15, 55, 85, so 100. So problem is balanced. Therefore it is a balanced problem. If it is unbalanced, we have to introduce either dummy column or row with the balancing figure quantities. Okay, with the cells cost as 0. Next, now initial solution we should get. What is the next thing? Initial solution by using which method? In the absence of any instruction, you should use VAM only always. Initial solution by using Vogel's approximation method, where we have to calculate penalties first. So first what I will do is, as these columns I will take. Okay, with bigger boxes you take. Okay, so we have retail outlets A, B, C, D, E. Then capacity you can take, then penalties you can take. Penalty X, Y, Z. Penalty, this is capacity. Okay, take the costs, with a smaller font. What is the cost here? 55. Then 30, 40, 50, 40. Here it is 35, 30, 100, 45, 60. Next, 40, 60, 95, 35, 30. Okay, now what is the capacity here? 40 20, that you can take with bigger font, 40 20 40, 40 20 40, to differentiate your cost and capacities. Demand is 25 10 20 30 and other one is 15. Now first what you should calculate? Penalties you should calculate for each row and column. How to calculate the penalty? The difference between first least cost, second least cost. What is the first least cost here? 30. Second least cost is 40. So 10. Next, here first least cost 25. Second least cost 30. So 5. First least cost is 30. Next is 35. So 5. Here penalties. So what is the penalty here? First one, first least cost is 35 5. Now you have same least cost, no, 30 30. So you should take here 0. Okay, you should be very careful there. You should take 0 there. Next, don't take next highest cost. So 40 95. Next highest is next least 55. 40 95 is 55. Yes. Next one 35 45 is 10. Then 30 40 10. So out of this, highest penalty is which one? This one. In this you should take least cost. What is the least cost? 45. What is the maximum allocation we can do there? Maximum allocation what we can do there is 20 or 40, whichever is lower. So 20 I can do. So 0 20. So this you can cut now. You should not use this further for further calculations. Over. Okay. Now next, repeat. Next one here again 30 40 10. Next 20 30 35 5. Here 30 35 5 only. This 5 only, 0, not applicable here. 35 45 10 10 only. Out of this maximum is 10. You have 3 10s here. This, here, here and even here 3. So there is a tie in penalties, no? Highest penalties. Out of this now you have to see where you have least cost. So if you see this, in this least is 35. In this what is the least? 30. In this what is the least? 40. So which one is the least? 30 is the least. So this one we should select. This one we should select. In this least is 30. What is the maximum quantity I can allocate? 15 or 40, whichever is lower. So 15 I can allocate 0. This will become how much? 25. No, correct, only correct. So earlier 20 be allocated, no, this will get reduced to 20 because factory also 20 is already done. So balance 20 there. So here 15 or 40, whichever is lower, means how much I can allocate here? Least cost is this only, no. So I can allocate 15. This will become 25. This will become, so again this one you should strike off this column. Done. Next, repeat. So again, what is the least cost? 30. Next least cost is 50. So 20. 30, 35, 5. Next 35, 45. Here it is same 5, 0, not applicable. Same 10, not applicable. Out of this, maximum is 20. 20 is highest. So in this, what is the least cost? 30 is the least cost. Here, what is the maximum I can allocate? 10 or 20, whichever is lower. So 10 I can allocate. This will become 0, this will become 10. Okay, so again you can strike off this column. Now you are left with these two columns. So 50 minus 55, 5. 35 minus 45, 10. 5, 5, not applicable, not applicable. Here 10, not applicable. Out of this, maximum is 10. Again there is a tie. Here there is a tie. So we have to see least cost in this. In this, least cost is 35. In this, the least cost is 35. Again, cost is also there is a tie. Why? Because in this 10, 35. Again in this 10 also 35, least cost. In this least cost also we will see what is the maximum quantity we can allocate. Okay. So here how much I can allocate? 35. Here how much I can allocate? 30 or 25, which are 25 I can allocate here. And what about here? Here 20 or 25, whichever is low. 20 you can allocate. Here you can allocate 20. Here I can allocate 25. So maximum I can allocate here only 25. This will become 5. This will become 0. So this row you can cancel it out. Strike it off. Okay, now you are left with Hmm, 50 minus 55, 5, 10, not applicable. Next 35 minus 55, 20, not applicable, not applicable. Here 10, not applicable. Highest is 20. In this, least cost is 35. What is the maximum I can allocate? 20 or 25, whichever is lower. So 20 I can allocate. So this one will become 5, 0. Okay. So that means now I can strike off this one also. I can strike off this one also. I can strike off. So this one over, this one over, this one is also over, this one is also over now. Okay, now you are left with only the first row now. First row you are left with now. No penalties you can calculate. Directly you can do allocation now. So if you see now left one, 50, how much you can allocate here? Balance left is 10 or here 5, whichever is lower. So 5 we can allocate here. This will become 5. This will become 0. And here how much I can allocate now? This 5 or 5, whichever is also 5 means over. This will become 0. This also will become 0. So everything now done, fulfilled. All how many allocations are done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 allocations are done. 7 allocation. M plus 1 minus 1. So M is 3. 8. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 minus 1, 7. So 7. So it is for, yes, we can move forward there. So done. This is your initial solution as per VAM. Now we have to go to optimality test. Before we perform optimality test, one preliminary check is there. What is the preliminary check? So here whenever there is a tie among penalties, then we should take the penalty where we can get least cost. If there is a tie among least cost also, then where we can allocate maximum quantity, we have to check. Even maximum quantity is also tie, then arbitrary selection you can do. Okay, remember that point. So here if there is a tie between penalties, what you have to do, I have covered. So in your notes also you can make a note of that. Next one, now preliminary check before we move to optimality test. What is that preliminary check? Preliminary check. What is that preliminary check is? M plus 1 n minus 1 is equal to 3 plus 5 minus 1 is equal to 7. And what is the number of allocations we have done in the cells? Exactly 7 allocations we got, is equal to 7. So it is a non-degenerated solution. That means we can prepare U plus V matrix. Therefore non-degenerated solution. Non-degenerated solution. So now what we can do is optimality test using modified distribution method we can do. Optimality test. First we should prepare U plus V matrix. U plus V matrix we should prepare. Then the other one is change matrix. Change matrix. First, how many are there here? 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many rows? 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Same thing here also. Change matrix also we require this now. Now first take allocated cells. What is the cost? Allocations we have done, no? In those cells the cost you should take first. Where we have done allocation here, first one, what is the cost of that? 55. 55. Then 30. Second one also we have done allocation, 30. Third one 40. Fifth one 50. 40. Yes. Then next one 20. Then here last 35, 30. 35, 30. This is your allocated. Now you should calculate U plus V values. You can try U plus V values. Now first take U is equal to, this is U, this is V values. This you can take 0. Try to get the U plus V values. So using this, we'll try to get u plus v values. First, these all are allocated, no? Using this I am getting, first this one I will use, cost I know 40, u value is 0. So what should be the v value to get cost 40? It should be 40. So 40 plus 0 is equal to 40. Next, here we have cost 50, u value 0. So how much should be the v value here? 50. Here cost 40, u value 0. So v value must be 40. 30. So here also 30. Here 55. So we got now here v values. Now u values you should get. So 55 plus u value must be equal to what? 20. So 55 is there, v value. So u value must be definitely negative. Negative how much? 35 minus 35. Then only in cost will be 20. Then this one. How to get u value here? Cost you have 30, v value 40. So u value must be how much to get cost 30? It should be minus 10. Then inside you get positive 30. 40 minus 10, 30. So now you got u values and v values. Now inside cost you can get easily. So 40 minus 35, this one will be 5. Next, 30 minus 35. This it is not 20, I guess. 35, sorry. Here it is 35 is the cost. This one is 35. Okay, cost is only 35. So 55 minus here minus 20, then it will be 35. Okay, so cost properly I have not taken. So this is minus 20. Now minus 20 plus 30, this is positive 10. Minus 20 plus 40, positive 20. 50 minus 20, 30. Then 40 minus 10, 30. 30 minus 10, 20. 55 minus 10, 45. So I got u plus v values. Now wherever allocation is done in change matrix, first you cut it. There the change values will be 0. There the change values is 0. So remaining you calculate now the change. How do you get change matrix? Change is equal to original cost minus u plus v value. So what is the original cost here in this cell? We have to see what is the original cost. Second 30. 30 minus 10 is equal to 20. Next, your original cost 100. 100 minus 20 is equal to 80. Here 45. 45 minus 30, 15. Next one 60. 60 minus 5, 55. Next here 40. 40 minus 45, we got negative 5. Yes, negative you got. Next, original 60. 60 minus 20, you got 40. 95. 95 minus 30. 95 minus 30 is 65. So one figure you got negative. So since you got change matrix negative here, it is not an optimum solution. So our cost can be still further reduced. That is the meaning of that. Our cost can be still further reduced. So as one of the change element is, as one of the change element is negative, okay, the solution is not optimum. The solution is not optimum. So that is the heading I gave for this example. Not an optimum solution. So now what we should do? This is the point you should learn. Not optimum. Okay, this is what very important. Now improvement we have to do. See how to do improvement. Improvement number 1. Okay, very important this one. Improvement number 1. We should prepare a loop matrix. We call that as a loop matrix. Loop matrix. What you should do is take again same the number of rows and columns along with boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now this is called as loop matrix. You have to prepare. Other one is reallocated matrix. Reallocation matrix, because we are going to change. We know that if you allocate to this cell, okay, it will result in cost, lower cost. So that is the reason you have to reallocate. So only thing is how you are going to give it to this cell, because now we know that by giving this to this cell, cost can be reduced. So that is the reason how we should do the change, and that should not affect your your allocations, because now fresh allocation if you do, then it will not match. Already entire quantity got allocated now. Yes, so how we are going to do that, that is an interesting part. Now see, now first what you do is allocated part. First you take allocated cells. What is the quantity you take? What is the allocated quantity you take? What is the allocated quantity for the cells that you take? When you are preparing this improvement matrix, loop matrix, first you take allocated quantities. What are the allocated quantities? 5, 10, 25. 5, 10, 25. 25. Okay, then 20. Here also we have done allocation. Here 25, 15. Okay, now the step starts. Right, now let me copy this here also. Now where exactly we got this negative here is exactly here. Yes, so what I am doing is I am writing steps also along with this. First, what we have done to prepare this loop matrix, first to copy, along with this I am writing, copy quantity of latest allocation. Of course, this is the first improvement. So whatever is the allocation we have done earlier, that allocation quantity first you should take. I have taken that only, first allocation quantity. Then step number 2 is tick the cell with most negative value of change. So what is the most negative value here? Here we got most negative value. Where we got most negative value here? Here only we got most negative value. Now what you should do is, in this matrix, uh, 20, 80, 15, 60 minus original figure 60, and what is the u plus v value? 40 minus 20, this one. Why we have taken 5? 40 minus 20 is 20, no? 20 we have taken. 40 minus 20 is 20. 50 minus 20, 30. Yeah, rest of the things I have taken correct. So 60 minus 20, this is 30. Yeah, 55 minus 45, 55 minus 10 is 40. In fact, this value is also not 45, this is 40. Okay, original things given in the question only, we have not copied correctly. So 40 here, original cost is only 40 in the question. Okay, then this is some figures. U plus v values here, I think small mistake I have done here. 0 minus 20, 30, 40. Initially we have done based on this only, 0 plus 55 is equal to 55. This is correct only. Everything is 30, 40, 50, 40, correct. 0 minus 20, we got this also correct. This one is 40 minus this figure also 45. The cost of allocated is, E value is, this value we have to calculate, no? In fact, there is no allocation done here. Okay, so what happened is, there is no allocation only here. Allocation, there is no allocation in that cell only. Right, yes. That is the reason I got this one. So there is no allocation here. I have taken allocation there. Right, students, some silly mistake I have done here. There is no allocation, I have taken their allocation. So now 0, this u value is 0, and we have let me do this again so that you will not get confusion here. First, what we have to do, we have to take allocated values, no? Allocated quantity we should take. So I took all the allocated. Now first let u is equal to 0. So that means u plus v must be equal to this cost. So 0, 55 plus 0 is equal 0 plus what is equal to 55? 55. So this is 55, this is 30 only, this is 40. Now this is 50. Now 50 plus u value must be equal to 35. That means what? Here it is minus 15. Yes. If this is minus 15, cost is 30. That means what is the v value? That what should be the v value to ensure that inside cost will be 30? It should be 45 minus 15. Yes. It should be 45. Next, if this is 55, inside cost is 35 means what should be the value here? Minus 20. Then only the cost will be 35. Now I got all. Yes. Now let us get this done. 45 minus 20 is 25. Then 40 minus 15 is 25, 30 minus 15 is 15, 50 minus 15 is 40, then 30 minus 20, 10, then 40 minus 20 is 20, 30 minus 20, 50 minus 20 is 30, then 45 plus 0 is, this one is 45. Yes. So these all are unallocated. Now original minus unallocated. So original, what is the original of last one? 40. 40 minus 45. 40 minus 45 is minus 5 we are getting here. Next, 30 minus 10, 20, 100 minus 20, 80, 15. This again here, this is 25 now here. So 60 minus 25 is 35 here. It is 35. Next, 40 minus 40 is 0 only. This is 0 because 40. 60 minus it is 40. 60 minus 15 this is. 60 minus 15. 15 no, this is 60 is the original cost minus 15. This one is positive only. 45. Then 95 minus 25. 95 minus 25 is 70. This is. So 45 is 70. But still we got one negative value, minus 5 no. Anyhow, the problem is not optimum. Okay. Now improvement we can concentrate. So while copying the costs, I have done a little mistake. Now how did I realize that is? I am just referring to the question here. That is how I got that. Now this is solution is not optimum. Now improvement. So what we need to do is loop matrix we should prepare. What is this loop matrix? So that is the steps I am writing. First you copy the quantity of allocation whatever we have. So these are the allocated cells. From this only I got that mistake actually, referring to this one. So these are the allocations now. 5, 10, 20, 5. Okay, 20, 25, 15. So these are your allocations. Now tick the cell with the most negative value of change. This is your so most negative when you should, if you have multiple negatives, then out of that most negative you should take. So where we got negative change value, in this cell only we got a negative. Here we can see here only we got. So there what you do is you do a tick first. Okay, from there you can do a tick mark. So starting from, this is very important point, starting from the ticked cell, create a loop by using arrows that turns at right always at the allocated cells, always at the allocated cells. So what is the meaning of loop is, from wherever I am starting you should come back there. That is called as loop. The starting point only you should come back. That is called as a loop. So we should draw a loop now. Starting from where? From the ticked cell only. Okay. When you are drawing loop now, see here. This is the place from where you need to draw. When you are drawing a loop from here, you should draw in such a manner that again you should come back there. So when you draw this loop now, okay, wherever you are taking turning, there you should have allocation. What you should have? You should have allocation there. Then again you can see here there is an allocation. Here also there is an allocation. Okay. Here also there is an allocation. So again you are able to come back from here, again you are coming back here. So you can see there is a loop here. All conditions are satisfied. What is the condition? Starting from the ticked cell, create a loop. Loop means from wherever you are starting, again you should come back there by using arrows that turns at the right, always at the allocated cells. So wherever you are turning, see this turn, here you should have allocation. Always there should be an allocation. Okay, or you can also bypass this. Now see here, other possibilities I am checking. What if I go up to here? Yes, there is an allocation. We can go over this also, no problem. We can also go over this. There is an allocation here. You can turn right, no problem here. You can turn right. But the thing is here to turn again, here you don't have any allocation. Okay, here you can have again turn you can have, because here you have allocation. Similarly here also if you come, you can overlap this, you can come here. Then again here also there is no allocation because you have to take a turn here. Same here also. Here there is an allocation but there is no turn possible here. So that is a condition. And one more thing is you can use only horizontal lines or vertical lines only. Diagonally you cannot draw lines. Diagonal is not possible when you are drawing the loop. Okay, from where you should draw the loop here? From the ticked cell here. So now here from the ticked cell we are able to draw a loop. Okay, from here we are able to draw a loop. Now what you do is put plus minus symbol starting from here, ticked cell. You have drawn a loop starting from the ticked cell, put plus here, then minus, plus here, then minus here. Okay, write that point. Fourth point here, what is the fourth point is? Put plus sign on the ticked cell. Put plus sign on the ticked cell and minus sign on the alternative. Minus sign on the alternative corners. Minus sign on the alternative corner cells of loop. Plus and minus alternatively you should keep. Starting from here, ticked cell first plus, then here this corner minus, this corner again plus, this corner again minus, plus minus, plus minus. Now out of this minus values, take the highest minus value. Okay, corner cells of loop that we have written, yes. Then that is each corner should have plus or minus sign alternatively, plus or minus sign alternatively. This is what should happen. Now, out of this minus signs from the minus sign corner cells, select the least quantity and from the corner cell, negative cells are there. Out of that minus sign corner cell, select the least quantity, and adjust it to all the corner cells to obtain revised allocation. Select the least quantity out of this. Wherever you got minus sign, what is the least quantity? Here there is one minus sign. Here also minus sign. What is the least quantity there? You allocate it. Here 5 is the allocation. Here also 5 is the allocation. 5 only, no, the allocation. No, 15, 15 this is, not 5, 15. That is a problem. 15. So out of this least quantity is what? Least quantity is 5. That you should add at plus sign and deduct from minus sign. Okay. Now see, after doing that reallocation matrix, you prepare 5, 10 same, 20 also same. Only thing is from 5 we have to deduct minus 5. It will be 0. Okay. So least quantity we are deducting now. Instead of 0 you can put hyphen. Again you will get confused there. Okay. Next, plus we have to do here 5. So what we are doing is we are just revising, because if you change the quantities it will disturb the entire flow now. So we are doing adjustment in such a manner that will not affect your allocations. Then here already you had 25, no, that is 25 plus a minus a plus, that is 25 plus 5, 30, and 15 minus 10, 15 minus 5, 10. So this is your reallocated matrix. Now for this we need to do again optimality test. So for this need to do its optimality test again. Now again we have to go back to optimality test, that is prepare U plus V matrix, then change matrix, that we should do. Now for this, what is the preliminary check again? Preliminary check we will get satisfied, no problem. M plus N minus 1 is equal to 7. Allocations also 7. No change in allocations also. Number of allocations is also 7. So it is therefore non-degenerated. Solution. Okay. Non-degenerated solution this is. Now you should prepare U plus V and again change matrix. Go below this. Optimality test you should perform. Optimality test of improvement 1. So let us prepare U plus V matrix, and then change matrix. U plus V matrix and then change matrix. So take those values now. Again, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, 5. take the same there also. Right, now first allocated quantity cost you take. Allocated quantity cost already we know here. Cost is 5, 10, 20, 5, 30, 10, 5. First we should take cost, no? Cost are not called allocations. First take the cost of the allocated quantities. What is the cost here? 55, 30, 40, 45. No allocation here. Change no now. Now for improvement 1 we are doing. Improvement 1 is this only. 5, 10. This is one allocation here. Third one. Now last one. Change no. Last one. What is the cost of that last one? So I am taking the U plus V matrix now of improvement 1. Okay. So now there is a shift from this cell to this cell. What is the cost of that is 40. Here also there is an allocation, cost of that is 35. Next 35, 30. Cut these cells so that you will not get confused. Okay, then now take first u value is equal to 0, u 0. So this is 55, 30, 40, 40. Now 55 minus something is equal to 35, so that is minus 20. 40 minus this is a minus 10, that will be 30. So now we got this one minus 10 plus something here is equal to 35, that is 45. So we got all values. Inside values, now cost values we should get. 30 minus 20, 10, 20, 45 minus 24, here is 25, 20, 55 minus 10 is 45, 30 minus 10 is 20, 40 minus 10, 30. So U plus V matrix we got. So 45 plus 0 is 45. Now change matrix. So for allocated cells, don't take any change. Unallocated only you take the change. So what is the change you are getting here? Original cost is how much for this cell? Original cost is 50 minus 45 is 45, we got no U plus V value, so 5. Next here it is 20, original minus this one is 80, this one is 20, this one is 40. Next this one is original is 40 minus we got 45, 40 minus 45 is minus 5 we are getting. This one is 40, this one is 65. So again we got negative. So not an optimum solution, not optimum. So one more improvement is there, improvement number 2. improvement. So again we should prepare a loop matrix using this only, change matrix. So 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. Improvement 2. Okay, this is loop matrix, what we call this as loop. Then reallocation matrix. One, two, three, 4 5 1 2 3. So what we should do, loop matrix, first we should take the quantities, allocated quantities of the cells allocated. So what are the allocated quantities here is, these are the 55 allocation at this cell. What is allocation? 5, here it is 10, here it is 20, here it is 5, here it is 20. Okay, then here it is 30, here it is 10. Now these are the allocated quantities. First, what we should do in loop matrix, first we should take the allocated quantities. Then wherever we got this negative figure, no, there you should tick no. That is what I told you. What is the step I wrote? Copy the quantity of the latest allocation. What is the latest allocation? This is the latest allocation. According to this latest allocation only we should take. Don't take the previous one. According to this improvement one only you should take. Improvement 1 reallocation, whatever we got, according to that only we should take. This one, according to this only you should take. That is the reason I have changed now. Here there is no allocation. So now first we have taken the quantity. Now what is the next step I have written? See here, copy the quantity of latest allocation, tick the cell with most negative value of change. So most negative value of change where I got? Here I got in this cell. So there we should tick. Starting from here we should form a loop or not? Yes. See now how, let us check the loop now. So I can start from here. Yes, turn is positive. So wherever I am taking turning, there you can have, you have the allocations. Again you can come back here. This is possible. What about this? Here yes, we can do turning, but here there is, to take turning you don't have allocation here. So this is not possible. And anyhow this is not possible at all because there is no allocation. See, diagonal is not possible, either horizontal or vertical only. Diagonal is not possible. The only thing possible here is this one. See, you can overlap an allocated cell, no problem. But at turning you should have allocation. That is a must condition. So here we have turning, here we have allocation, here also we have allocation, and again here also we have allocation. So again here coming back to the original, tick the cell. So this is the loop. This is how you should draw the loop here. So starting from here, then even, it should be even. Okay, the side should be even when you draw the loop matrix also. Then what you should do? At the loop, tick the cell, put a plus sign, then alternatively minus, plus, minus. Out of the minus sign allocations, take the least quantity. 5, 10, least is 5. That you should added the plus signs, deducted the, subtracted the minus signs. Okay, so we have to subtract here, so it is 0. Here we should add 5. This will remain same. 10 will remain same. 20 will remain same. Here it will become 10. 5 plus 5, 10. This will be same. 10 minus 5, 5. It will be 5 revised. So this is your reallocated matrix. Now again we should perform optimality test, U plus V matrix and then change matrix. So here again number of allocations is equal to m plus n minus 1. So pre-optimality check is, what is a pre-optimality check? M plus n minus 1 is equal to 3 plus 5 minus 1 is equal to 7. Number of allocations is equal to 7. So it is a non-degenerated solution. Non-degenerated solution. Yes. Now you should prepare U plus V matrix optimality test. Optimality test for improvement 2 now. For improvement 2. So this one. On this reallocated matrix, now we should do what? Optimality test. So again, according to the allocation, let us take this now. Don't put 0, better always you put, once you remove this, put hyphen so that you will not have confusion. Wherever that becomes nil, 5 minus 5 0, no, don't put 0 there, again you will get confused there in the U plus V matrix and change matrix. Now revised allocations, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 allocations, yes. Now U plus V matrix, we should prepare U plus V matrix and then change matrix. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now wherever there is an allocation here, this one, first you take the cost there of those cells. Second one cost already we know 30, 40. 30, 40, this is the allocation. And third one also, last one is also allocation. What is allocation there? 40 is the allocation cost there. This is the cell, I am taking cost now. There is an allocation now, there I should take the cost, U plus V matrix means. Then here also there is an allocation, cost of this is 35. Here also there is an allocation now according to this. So cost is 40 there. Then here also there is an allocation. What is the cost of that? 35. Here also there is an allocation. What is the cost of that? 30. Okay. Now U plus V, U, take this as 0, V. So 40 plus 0, 0 plus 40, 40. 30. So 40 minus 10 will be 30. Then 35 inside cost means this will be 45. 45 minus 10 will be 35. Then all values we got. No, this one we should get 40 you have inside cost minus 10, but how much should be here? 50 minus 10, then it will become 40. Yes. No, I got 50 here. This is inside cost is 35. So minus 15. 50 minus 15 is equal to 35 now. So yes, all values I got now. Now 50 plus 0, this will be 50. Yes. Now calculate the cost inside ones. Allocations always you can cut so that you will not get confusion. This one is allocated. Remaining I am calculating cost now. 45 plus 0 is 45. 40 minus 15 is 25. 40 minus 15, 45 minus 15, 30. Then 40 minus 15 is 25. 30 minus 15, 15. 30 minus 10, 20. 40 minus 10, 30. Yes. U plus U values and V values we got now. Change. First you cut the allocated cells. Yes, now calculate the change values. First one is original cost here is 55. 55 minus 5. 55 minus 50 is equal to 5. Then original cost here is 50. So 50 minus 45 is 5. Here the original cost is 30. 30 minus 15 is 15. Here the original cost is 95. 95 minus 25. It is, what is the original cost in seconds? It is 100. 100 minus 25. 100 minus 25 is 75. Okay, here it is, what is the cost? 45. 45 minus what is the U plus V value we got here? 45 minus what is the U plus V value? 30. 15. Like that, here we will get 35. Here we will get 40. Here we will get 65. Okay, so everywhere we got positive only now. Okay, so as all change elements are 0 or positive, okay, the latest solution is optimum. Okay, and allocation according to the optimum solution, according to this only now we should do allocation, the quantity. The optimum solution is distribution centers, retail outlets, quantity, cost per unit, and total cost. So first distribution center X to which one? BC and then E. BCE allocations, no, B is A, B, C, D, E. So B, C and E allocation. What is the quantity there? Allocation quantity according to reallocated matrix true. 10, 20, 10. 10, 20, 10. And what is the cost of that? 30, 40, 40. 30, 40, 40. Next, distribution center Y. Y is only A. What is the quantity there? Only 20. 20 is the quantity. Is the quantity only? No. Reallocation matrix we take quantity only. What is the cost of that? 20 here. Cost is, we take here no cost, 35. In U plus V matrix we take cost only. 20 into 35 is, you have to calculate. Next, last distribution center Z. Z is to which one? A, D, E. A, D, E. What are the quantities? A5, 535. 535. And what is the cost there? A 40, 35, 30. So this, if you calculate, if you multiply quantity into cost per unit, 10 into 3, 300, 800, 400. This one is 700, 200. This one is 30, that is 900. 900 and 1050, 150. So this total is 3600. 11 plus 4, 15, 2200, 2400, 3450. 450 plus 3600 is the answer. So what is the minimum cost is 3600. So such big problem here. So two improvements have taken place. That is the reason it took a lot of time. So only thing is speed matters here. Okay, so this is if you get a negative in the change matrix, if you get negative figure, that means improvement is possible there. So this is one special case. Okay, what are the other cases is special cases in if you get maximization, then what you should do? Whenever you get maximization, see, when problem is unbalanced, if production quantity is not equal to demand or availability, then dummy row or column you can introduce. Next thing is alternate solution. Sometimes in the question alternate solution they will ask. Alternative solution. So when do we can say that there is another alternative solution is whenever the change values in your change matrix, whenever the change value is equal to 0 in the unallocated quantities, unallocated cells, if the change value is equal to 0, what does it indicate? That is, even if you allocate to that also, the overall cost will not change. That means there is another way to distribute the quantities, but that does not change your cost. That is what 0 indicates. When the change value is equal to exactly 0, not negative, 0. Even if you change also, overall cost will not change. That is the reason we wrote either 0 or positive, then it is optimum solution only. So when do you say that there is an alternative solution? Change matrix. Whenever change matrix, if value is 0, if value is 0 in any unallocated cell, that is cost will neither increase nor decrease if same quantity is allocated. Same quantity is allocated to that cell. The same quantity if you allocate to that cell, it is not going to change. Wherever you got 0, okay, so it is not going to change. Only thing is form a loop. Yes, in order to find alternative solution, next, in order to find that alternative solution, now what we have to do is you have to draw a loop. We create a loop from the cell where change is equal to 0. So like whatever steps we performed for a negative cell, like that, wherever we got 0, from there you draw a loop. Okay, and follow the same step, plus minus, put the same thing. Only thing is from where a 0 place you should start drawing that loop. Same adjustments you can do. Okay, this is what you should do. What you should have to, once again I'm explaining here. In question sometimes they will ask whether there is an alternative solution exists or not. So how do you realize that there is an alternative solution? When the change matrix unallocated value is either if it is equal to 0, that indicates that even if you allocate any quantity to that, that is not going to change the overall value, that is cost figure. So to know that cost is not going to change, what you have to do is you have to draw a loop from 0 and put plus minus, same thing you have to do. Only thing is from 0 you should start drawing the loop. Change the values, then see whether cost is changing or not. Cost will not change. So this is alternative solution. This is one special point. Next thing is degenerated solution. Degenerated means what? Degenerated solution. Degenerated means what? M plus 1 minus 1 is not equal to your number of allocations. Okay. So in this case, you cannot prepare U plus V matrix. In this case, we cannot prepare U plus V matrix. That is the reason what we do is one extra allocation we are going to do. We are going to take one extra allocation here. What is that? Right, let us write now. So whenever if there is a degeneracy solution, that is if m plus n minus 1 is not equal to number of allocations, we call it as degenerated solution. We call it as degeneracy. We call it as degeneracy. So to avoid this, what we will do is we call it as degeneracy. This means we cannot prepare U plus V matrix. Optimality test cannot be done without satisfying this condition. So this means we cannot prepare U plus V matrix. Okay. Now what we should do is to avoid this degeneracy, what we should do is we should select the smallest value called as epsilon. We need to introduce a new allocation. E, this E or small e, epsilon. So E is a very close figure to 0, almost equivalent to 0, almost equivalent to 0. So where we should take this, where we should do this allocation is in our matrix allocation only. Already according to initial solution we got allocation, no? So where we should do this allocation is independent cell we should do allocation. We need to introduce a new allocation E or epsilon where E is equivalent to 0. Equivalent to 0. E represents a small value, the smallest value equal to 0. Okay. Where we should use at unallocated. An unallocated least cost independent cell. These three conditions must be satisfied. Independent cell. What are the three conditions? Now you have done already allocations in your initial solution according to VAM. There find out least cost out of the remaining unallocated cells. Least cost you find. Okay. and it must be unallocated. Least cost, independent cell. Independent means from there you cannot form any loop. Independent means what? You cannot form any loop from there. So there you put E value, do allocation. Okay, then this condition will be satisfied. Independent cell. So what is independent cell? How much you should allocate their E value. Okay, allocation is 0. Independent cell, what is the meaning of independent cell? From where no loop can be drawn. That is called as independent cell. No loop can be drawn. What we should do whenever your m plus n minus 1 is not equal to number of allocation, it is called as degeneracy. In that case, what we should do is, in your initial solution according to VAM, find out now in the remaining unallocated cell least cost. Okay, there you allocate how much quantity? E quantity, which is least quantity, lowest quantity. Then you can satisfy the condition. Okay, that doesn't affect your overall quantity because that is the lowest quantity. That is what you are going to allocate there. And there, now if you take E there, the quantity is it going to affect your overall quantity allocation? No, it is not going to affect. Okay, because I hope you understood. I am saying that wherever there is an unallocated cells are there, no, out of that select the least one. There you allocate E quantity, like this E quantity you allocate. What is the meaning of E? 0, literally 0 it is. Literally it is 0. Only thing is one extra allocation we are doing. That's it. This is what we should do. Okay, and what should be the value of this? This allocation value, you can take it as 0. When you are preparing your what you call this improvement matrix also, this E value you can take it as 0 literally. Okay, yes, this is what you should do whenever there is a degeneracy solution. Next thing is, whenever they give you maximization objective, probably you might get profit figures. There you should convert that into minimization by preparing opportunity loss matrix. So whenever you have maximization objective, last case now in this maximization objective, this we should convert into minimization. So each case you have problem in your material institute metal. Okay, you can refer to these questions. Maximization case, convert into minimization by preparing opportunity cost matrix. By preparing opportunity cost matrix. How do you get opportunity cost matrix? Is elements in the opportunity cost matrix. Elements in opportunity cost matrix, each element how do you get is take the highest figure in your entire matrix, profit matrix, that you remove from all the other elements. This is what we should do when you have maximization problem. Okay, what we should do, take the highest profit figure you take out of that matrix minus given profit figures will be there, no? Okay, that you remove. Then you will get opportunity loss matrix. For that you should apply transportation steps, minimization. Okay, this is what you should do whenever you have maximization case. So these are the cases in your transportation. Okay, so first is initial solution we have to do according to VAM. Then we should perform optimality test. Optimality test we have to prepare U plus V matrix and change matrix. If change matrix unallocated cells change values is either 0 or positive, then our solution is optimum. If it is anyone is having negative value, then it is not optimum, then we should prepare a loop matrix. That means improvement we should do. Loop matrix we should prepare so that we can interchange the quantities and then again reperform the optimality test. This is what we should do. Okay, recent June 2025 also they asked a question in transportation. It was a normal question. So there was no improvement also in that particular question. Okay, so this is the highest level question, that is degeneracy case or maximization. These problems you have in your material, now you can practice. Now you all know all the steps. Yes. So thank you guys. So it took some time, but I hope all the concepts are covered here. Right. Thank you.